Once again, we are blessed by Chinatsu's beautiful smile, as we're here to talk about Chapter 3 of the Blue Box manga series. This chapter I thought was really wholesome, as we got some great character moments and interactions, with a hint of foreshadowing of things to come in the future. Plus, the comedy was really funny in a lot of places. So I want to start with my thoughts on a mistake, but not with the chapter, a mistake made by Chinatsu herself. After all, she misreads Taiki's intentions at the beginning of this chapter, albeit though those intentions were not clearly communicated. So in that respect, both parties involved were at huge fault here. But back to that in a minute. After all, we saw Chinatsu fall down to the ground during practice. And I believe this stems from her overthinking the current situation, which made her feel that Taiki wanted the two of them to be viewed as strangers within the public eye. Plus, I thought the news about Taiki's improvement and his chances of being in a national spots improving, this could also play a factor into the reason as to why she fell down during practice. Here's why. Yes, she would be happy for him, as she's seen the effort and dedication he's putting in to his newfound goal. But she could also be pushing herself harder as a result, hinting at a possible rivalry blooming between the two of them, in where she wishes to beat him in securing a national spot first. Of course, when we try too hard in any subject, sport or anything like that, we add unnecessary pressure to ourselves. This in turn makes us make mistakes that are somewhat silly or unnecessary. It's because we're trying too hard and we're too focused, we're not relaxed, and we're not going things at our normal pace. But back to the news about Taiki having a better chance at securing a national spot because the coach has seen improvement in his shuttlecock hitting power. This could actually be a curse and something that might not go his way in the future. After all, we hear a line detailing the fact that new students are arriving soon, and I'm willing to bet that one of those new students is a good badminton player, a possible rival for our main protagonist in future chapters. Either that, or he gets overconfident in the midst of his tryouts for nationals, which means we're going to get some more character development and progression from his character, because he's going to have to self-reflect on how and why he failed. And of course, that will lead to his overconfidence that he's going to go into this test with, because he knows that the coach has seen improvement within him. This I quite like, because it sets up two really good scenarios, both of which could play out, or one of them plays out and it still ends with a good result. Now, another great line from Chinatsu within this chapter was her answer as to why she doesn't want a boyfriend. She states, right now, I'm already putting all my attention into the team. This line I loved, as it shows just how much Taiki understands Chinatsu, as that phrase links back to the words spoken in chapter 2, where Taiki states it took a lot of courage and determination from Chinatsu to stay in Japan and follow her dreams. So it would be selfish of me to ask, would you be in a relationship with me? Of course, these two statements here from two different chapters are of course phrased differently, but when you take away the meaning of those phrases, you still have the same context. After all, that line about Chinatsu putting all of her attention into the team is also her stating that she's got a goal she wants to work towards, and she's going to do everything in her power to make sure that comes true, and a boyfriend wouldn't really, fit into that plan. She wouldn't be able to give any attention to a boy that she is dating. Taiki in turn understands this and feels like it would be selfish of him to impose a boyfriend relationship with her, as it would affect her goal and dream, which again could also break their relationship a bit more, because if Chinatsu's got no attention to give him if they were in a relationship, then Taiki would get less and less interested within her. So I like this. I like the two kind of parallels and the link it has with this chapter and chapter 2 and those two texts of dialogue. Now, I really like the fact that this miscommunication in where Chinastu pretended to act like a stranger towards Taiki was resolved within one chapter, as stretching this any further would have seemed unnecessary from a reading perspective. But her words about sleeping in the shed or finding a dirt cheap place tells us as the reader that she is not romantically interested within Taiki. To me, when I read this line, I thought that it made sense, because to her, her only reason for staying in Japan is simply to chase her goal of going to nationals in basketball. That is her true goal. That is a reason as to why she stayed. Where she stays to is completely irrelevant to her. Now, of course, her reasonings as to why she would think about moving out is because it comes from a sweet, wholesome idea of Taiki being romantically involved, or wanting to be romantically involved, in Hina, the dynamic gymnastic character that we've seen in the last few chapters. This was incredibly sweet and wholesome. She is not wanting to ruin Taiki's love life, as she believes that, of course, there is something there between the two. This, again, miscommunication, because it's not the case. Taiki couldn't explain why it wasn't the case, because he's still too shy to state that he loves her. But nevertheless, though, I really like this from Chinastu's character. I thought it was great. Now, speaking of Hina and romance, I'm hoping this image does not spell heartbreak for Hina's character, as we don't know a lot about her, but rest assured, I guarantee you this manga will do everything it can to make us fall in love with this girl before showing us her heartbreak, making that emotional impact on us as the reader that much more painful to bear when it happens. Although heartbreak is one side of things in where they can go, but another direction they can go with Hina looking over at Taiki and Chinastu in this way could be the rumours. After all, this character has been shown to be quite cheeky and playful within her personality, and she seems quite smart. And the fact that she asked a question as to whether or not Chinastu has a boyfriend, she could start messing around with Taiki a little bit and saying, well, you know, Chinastu senpai said that she didn't have a boyfriend because she was too focused on her team. Well, I think that was a lie. And actually, you know what? She's been acting quite friendly around you, maybe. So, who knows? Maybe she fancies you, Taiki. And, of course, she can just play this and get inside Taiki's head. Give us some comedy. Give us some Taiki brain melting and just gas exploding out of his mind. Why not? I think that would be amazing. Anyways, though, I thought this was a great chapter and the art style was amazing, just like always. Really do love seeing this art style. It's so nice. It makes me smile while I read it, which is something I enjoy. So if you haven't read this manga yet, look no further than the description down below. After all, I will put a link to where you can read this chapter for free on the Shonen Jump website. It's a great series. You won't regret the read. And, of course, it's free. So why not? But with all that said and done, let me know your thoughts on this chapter in the comment section down below. Let me know what you thought of the chapter itself and any of the thoughts I've raised in this video. But most of all, I hope you have an amazing day and I'll catch you next time. Arigato, matane, goodbye.